So last week I did a video regarding the builders here in Central Florida and really ranked them from top tier on down, including the production builders all the way up to semi-custom. And many of you had questions regarding the whole process in terms of timing. Like if you wanted to get started, what would that look like? And what does that mean to you in terms of like, can you choose your model? Can you choose your builders, lots and finishes and that sort of thing? And so I thought I'd break down sort of the whole process, where we've been and where I see us going in the new construction process.
Holding on to the hand of self-destruction. I'm back to play.
If you didn't watch last week's video, I will pin that down below for you so that you can get a better understanding of what some of these production builders offer you and some things to look out for. But let's talk about where we've been as an industry really quick, and then where we are currently, and then how I see that changing over the next few years. So historically, you would figure out where your budget is, you'd decide the builder and the area based on maybe schools or proximity to work, and then you would kind of just move forward. You'd pick a lot, you'd pick a model, you'd get to pick your own finishes and your structural, and then 6 to 12 months later, you'd have a new house. That has massively changed for the majority of builders as it sits today. Today, many of the builders will just choose their own model, their own elevation, which is like the exterior styling of the building. They will go ahead and pick the majority of the finishes, and then they'll list the house for sale once the building is like halfway through. Many of them. Some of them wait until it's 60 days out for being finished, then they'll just call for highest and best, much like a resale home would, which takes a lot of the excitement for many new homeowners out of the process. Many of them would look at the resale market before and say, well, I'm not finding anything there, but I can always go customize my own home. Now you're getting into something brand new, and it's someone else's choices, someone else's fixtures, and that sort of thing. And so not every builder, but many builders are doing that for a couple different reasons. Number one is the supply chain issue that many of us are dealing with. They know that if they sell a buyer on a home and you pick your own finishes, and then we have a delay in financing or delay in the supply chain or a delay in anything, all of a sudden those costs are going up and up and up and up. Your interest rate's getting crazy, out of hand maybe, up or down, and there's just a lot of things that are unknown. And so the builder said, forget this, we're going to pull all of these options off the table, we're going to do it ourselves, and then instead we're going to allow you to purchase the house when there's a little bit more certainty. Now, that again, that's not every builder, but that's many of the builders on how they're working in 2022. Let's talk about the new construction process and how you should approach it in 2022. Much of the new construction process is going to come down to your finances and what you can afford. So step number one is really reaching out to a lender that you know and trust, and we can refer you somebody as well, to get a ballpark idea of what you're going to comfortably be able to afford based on current interest rates, your debt to income ratio, and so many other things. A lot of people reach out to us and they say, well, hey, I've got a 750 credit score. What kind of house can I buy? Well, I don't know what school loans you have, car debt you have, alimony payments, any of that kind of stuff. So starting with a lender first and having that all figured out is going to help you with the whole process of this new construction deal. Now, keep in mind, many of these builders will incentivize you to use their lenders on site and or a relationship that they have, and they'll typically incentivize you anywhere from like $2,000 to $10,000. And why do they offer you this incentive? Really, it's so that they can keep an eye on you, and that if their lender that they trust is going to say, hey, these guys are gold, we're good to go, versus your lender that they may not know and they may not have great communication from, they're willing to pay a little bit of something towards that. So many of builders will say you have to get pre-approved with their lender. Now, they can't legally require that you close with that lender, but they will say that, hey, listen, you've got your financing in order. And so all of that is really step number one. Step number two in the new construction process is going to kind of come around the whole area. Are you wanting to be close to a certain school of yours? Are you wanting to have a close proximity to work, the airport, Disney? Can you rent the thing Airbnb, or are you only in a long-term area that only allows year leases? All of those things are going to help you sort of determine. Now, the cool thing about the Central Florida market is really any of these areas have new construction options for you depending on your budget. And so depending on the area, you will have sort of the entry-level tier 1 builders all the way up 2 and 3 builders in really every market here in Central Florida. And so that's a really cool thing. If you start with your budget, then you choose that area, things start to get a little bit more clear. Now that you've chosen your area, we have to decide what builder are you going to work with. You're going to look at different areas, Horizon West, Sunbridge. You might be up in Oakland Park or in Claremont. The cool thing about our Central Florida area is that there's builders everywhere depending on your budget. really for everyone. And so I think that's a really cool thing to be able to choose from. Now, once you choose your builder in your specific area, you're going to look at their models. Are you after a builder that has a primary bedroom on the main level? Are you open to a 2-story with a loft so you maybe have a better view, or just more house on the lot? There's a lot of things that builders are going to incentivize you in one way or the other. So maybe that sways you between one builder or another. But at the end of the day, you're looking at build quality, area. Does the model kind of fit what you're looking for? Does the neighborhood that the builder kind of commands, does it have the vibe you're looking for overall? Is there amenities in the neighborhood? All of those kind of things that are going to be a lot more builder driven are where you kind of go from. Once you choose your builder and your model, that's many times where you're going to stop. In the past, we used to be able to say, okay, we're going to go to contract and get an idea of where we're going to be on a construction closing, but many times we're going to unfortunately have to halt and wait for new lot releases to happen. And so let's talk a little bit about that process. Hopefully by now you've reached out to your favorite real estate agent in the area that you're building in. Hopefully that's my team and I. But at this point is really where the rubber meets the road in terms of negotiations and staying on top of it to make sure you get the absolute best house for you for the money. Now, many builders will say, hey, we're going to release 10 lots, and maybe you like one of them that also happens to fit the lot model that you're looking for, that also has an elevation that matches the street and you're not backing up. There's all of these weird rules that builders have, making sure that the neighborhood doesn't look too cookie cutter. And so we're going to help you through that process. Now, some builders, it's just you're going to bid on a lot and the highest price wins. Other builders, it's going to be who has the best deposit, the biggest appraisal waiver, who's willing to spend the most money with us. You just never know until you're getting in the process, or if you're working with somebody that's already been there, like myself or my team. And so that's kind of the whole process right now. Many of it's a waiting game. It's us reaching out on a weekly basis or every other day basis to the on-site sales rep and or their manager, figuring out what kind of lot releases are coming down the pipeline. Now, I've had some people wait a month to get a lot release and then win. Other people have waited 3, 4, 5 months to get a lot release and then win and then move forward. And so you're going to start to see that now is when this whole new construction process can be elongated a little bit longer than normal. And so it's our job to say, okay, if you like this builder, you like this model, are there other neighborhoods we can look at to maybe find that house that you're looking for and help you win in this new construction crazy process that we're dealing with? All right, so we've helped you negotiate a deal. You've got a house on a lot that you love with a builder that you're excited about. Now what? Well, many times, depending on where they're at in the process, if it's one of the builders that have said, hey, we're going to choose the structural and options for you, well, then at this point, you're really just kind of waiting around for closing. It could take you 4 months to get a pre-drywall appointment where we're going to bring in our inspector and do all of the behind the drywall look and visual to make sure that it's put together properly. Or it could be the fact that you go to the design center. Now you get to choose kind of fun things, and sort of that's our job, is to meet you at the design center and make sure that you're not overspending on things that you're never going to get a return on, or maybe put yourself in a dangerous position on the appraisal. But that's really sort of the next steps in the process. All right, so now that your house is drywalled in, there's a lot that's going to happen over the next 2 to 3 months until it's finally finished. You're going to see the exterior come together, whether you chose stucco or siding or brick or whatever it might be, to kind of help that all come together on the inside and outside. The tile is going to come together, the cabinetry, all of the finishes are going to come together in those last 2 to maybe 3 months, depending on supply chain issues, labor shortages, and all that sort of thing. And so really right now is when we're going to come through, probably on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, to kind of give you progress updates on how the house is coming along. Then towards the end, like a week before closing, you're going to have what they call the new home orientation. And so during that new home orientation, the builder is going to come through, the builder rep. We're going to walk through, typically with an inspector if we can, if they'll allow us to, go through looking for imperfections. They're going to put a snake down the drains to make sure that there's no concrete backups. We're going to make sure that there's no cabinetry defects and all of those little things, and get a punch list item that's going to help us on our final day to make sure that the house is as perfect or as close to perfect as possible before we close. All right, so closing day, right? You're super excited. There's so much still to do. You have to unpack. You have to help do utilities. There's so many things that will help you kind of like coordinate towards the end there. But really at this last meeting with the builder, our goal is to find out, did everything on that list that we put together last week actually get finished? If you're in that bottom tier of builders, many times they're going to have 7, 8, 12 different things that you're going to have to wait to get finished after closing. They'll pass off that list to their warranty department and say, hey, over the next 30 days, finish this out. but those next 2 tier up builders are going to typically have that whole list finished out for you and deliver an amazing product. And so our goal through this whole process as agents is to help you with that process, to be your eyes and ears, because there's so many delays or things that might change through that process. Interest rates are going up and just different things that you might be nervous about during the process that you need someone to lean on and that you know is looking out for your best interest. And so that's really where we come in here. And so we're super excited to help so many people relocate here to Central Florida from around the world and go through this process. And we're doing it 30 to 50 times a month. And so we know which builders have issues, which ones should we look out for, other ones that we're super excited to work with, and that way we put you on a really good path moving forward. All right, so that's our video on the new construction process as it sits today in 2022. And so we'll see how this thing changes over the next, 2 years. A lot of builders have thousands of lots in development, and they're working through ways to try to pump up their supply chain if they can potentially do that. And so will new construction look differently a year from now than it does today? Probably. But at the end of the day, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice to help you with every step of the way. So make sure you reach out at info@positgroup.com, and then make sure you subscribe to our channel before you leave, as we're putting out new videos relating to real estate, theme parks, and life in Orlando every single week. We'll see you guys on the next video.